Hopefully tonight is not about speaking in front of PowerPoints. It's actually about listening and talking to each other and coming up with good ideas. So what's going to happen is that Rowan's going to set the scene and tell us about what's coming. And here's a hint. It is coming. And it's going to be pretty awesome. Then Vikram is going to talk about some categories of potential business ideas, which the UFB and RBI rollouts are going to give us. And then the next step is that we are all at each table going to generate ideas and for new businesses. Now it's great having a good idea, and apparently there are no such things as bad ideas, but there are such things as better ideas. A better idea is an idea that actually could make money. An even better idea is an idea that could make money and is doable. An even better idea again is an idea that could make money, is doable, and you have a bunch of people putting their hand up to say, hey, I want to help you do that. And then the best ideas are the ones that have great revenue potential, that are quite easily doable, where you have a bunch of people saying, hey, let me help, and where they actually have time and experience and money to bring to the table and actually make it happen. And a victory tonight will be us ending up with at least one of those ideas in that final category. We'd love to see a bunch in the second to last category. We know we're going to see a bunch in the third to last category. So the challenge is really going to be on everyone here to come up with those great ideas. You may already have your own idea. You may already be working on a business. I'm a big believer in making ideas free. Get them out there, test them with everybody else, and they'll improve as a result. So if you do have an idea, try not to sell on it unless you're about to launch and don't want to tell anyone. Try not to sell on it, try to get it out there, okay? And let's all help you guys make a better idea out of it. At the end of the night, there will be a prize. We have $300 to give to the easiest and biggest idea.
Crown Fibre Holdings, as many of you may know, is the government's, it's a Crown-owned company which has been set up to invest on behalf of the taxpayer a sum of up to $1.5 billion into ultra-fast broadband in New Zealand up to the end of 2019. What we're actually doing is building fibre to the premise to 33 candidate areas. Okay, so the objectives of the policy that we're implementing, which as many of you would be aware of, I don't think it's there over here, but I'll try to talk to it, is as the national government took to the last election campaign, is a pledge to take fibre optic infrastructure to the premise for 75% of New Zealanders by the end of the decade. We have a pledge within a pledge, if you like, which is to to prioritise businesses and schools and health facilities, and to make sure that that infrastructure is available to them within the first 5 years, leading to the end of 2015. So in terms of what we mean by ultra-fast broadband, in this particular context, we've defined that particular level of connectivity as 100 megs per second downstream, 50 megs per second upstream, and that compares to current connectivity as measured by Akamai at about 3.4 megs nationally. We are the urban initiative, and I'll talk a little bit about that, but as many of you would know, there is a parallel government initiative which is called the Rural Broadband Initiative, which aims to help with the remaining 25% of the population. Okay, so 33 candidate areas is how we reached the 75%. So you can see that obviously it's a population order, there's no bias here. We started Auckland being the biggest city in New Zealand, and we actually finished at Greymouth, which is the 33rd largest town in New Zealand. That's how we get to the 75%. To actually top up the population total of these 33 towns, you actually get to more than 75%. It's actually very close to 80%. So if we are successful in using taxpayers' funds correctly to roll this service out, we will see by the end of the decade that fibre to the premise is the predominant form of connectivity for the mass market within New Zealand. And that would be a powerful change to the way in which we connect and communicate with one another. What does that mean in terms of the work that we're doing at the moment? So far we've awarded contracts for 7 candidate areas to 2 providers. The first is North Power for Whangarei, where the rollout started last month in April. So we are now in full-scale deployment of UFB. We also have 6 further candidate areas which have been awarded to a subsidiary of Well Networks, which is the Alliance company based in Hamilton. That's covering Hamilton, Tauranga, New Plymouth, Wanganui, Hawera and Tokoroa. And basically the model that has been set up with the Crown is a public-private partnership model where the Crown's funds and private sector funds going together to connect to what we call an open access infrastructure model. It's a strictly wholesale only model, which means that the local fibre company, which is the entity that we're talking about, is strictly prohibited in Crown guarantees to the Commerce Commission, not the CFH, that they will not sell to end users. So what that creates, for the purpose of our conversation tonight, is an enormous white space where there is relatively low barriers of entry. There is a fair bit of innovation space where we can really make some new things happen. And what we're seeing at the moment is that a number of retail service providers, people like Vodafone and Orcon and others, are expressing an interest in actually selling these services. And we have some customer trials just kicking off at the moment in Whangarei, and we hope soon to have the first end user connections on the network. What we see now is really that the stage is set for the next step. We basically see a model where prices are contracted to fall. They are already, particularly for the business market, you'll see that they're pretty attractive compared to the current levels of pricing. So particularly for those priority users, there is attractive pricing of new broadband services coming to market very soon. Coming to market in Whangarei at the moment, Hamilton and Tauranga to follow, and then Newtown's coming on board soon after that. And basically you're looking at a model that allows the RSP, that's the term we use, a retail service provider, a lot of white space to innovate. We've got a number of ports that will sit on the box, being the ONT that's sitting on the side of the premise. Those ports can be taken up by different RSPs, and those different RSPs have management rights over the service that they wish to provide. So what you see is that there is the potential for a model where there are multiple RSPs. Instead of one retail provider being able to effectively lock up the home or lock up the premise with their own customer prem equipment, you can actually find that there can be more than one. In fact, there can be many different providers of different kinds of services. So niche opportunities are enabled by the UFB model. They're inexpensively priced, and you can see that there are the potential for new e-health applications, new education applications, and to be honest, new things we haven't thought of yet. Just want to say a little quick thing about New Zealand. We're deploying a mixture of point-to-point and PON, being passive optical networking topology. That basically is a set of tech specs that we think will get us the best bang for buck for taxpayers. It means that there is certainly the opportunity to deliver 100 megs to the home in the short term, but also there is an opportunity for an upgrade to the passive and active Lab 2 equipment at a later date, which will allow even faster speeds to the home. Obviously, the big challenges we've got to cope with is civil engineering in New Zealand is hard work. New Zealand's terrain, our relatively low urban density, and the quality of the volcanic and other rock that we work with. So looking lastly, just at take-up drivers, just want to talk really quickly about our priority segments, business, schools and health. What are the things that we think they're interested in, and where is the white space that we can talk about tonight? We have a lot of SOHOs in New Zealand. We've got a strong focus on enabling exporters. You know, the ICT sector is the second biggest exporter in New Zealand. But which sector could quadruple or quintuple in terms of its export potential and not even touch the size? Hint, it's not agriculture. It has to be things that we do with technology. These are the areas where we can find the weightless exporters. We believe that there's big opportunities in the corporate market, and that things like cloud, network for learning, or national education network, as it's also known within the Ministry of Education, the National Health IT Plan, and clustering within health organisations are all good things that provide plenty of opportunities. And lastly, in the residential market, prices hopefully are attractive at a wholesale level. We think that the retail service providers will agree with us, but I guess the proof's in the pudding. We believe that people will come onto the network at a reasonable price point for basic double, what we call a double play service, which is essentially a broadband service plus a voice service. What that we hope will do is get people onto Fibre in the first place, and then further innovation can emerge at that point. What might that innovation look like? Well, that's up to you, not up to me. It could be that what people experience in the school, the kids will bring home and they'll say, Mum, Dad, how come I don't get that service? How come I can't access that cool new application in the home? So that we are viable tech there. It could be that new, richer forms of video service, whether it's over the top or IPTV or high definition video conferencing. A number of these types of video-based applications we think will be strong. There's a much stronger component of upstream. I mentioned 100 meg downstream, but 50 meg upstream. At the moment, anybody can get more than a meg upstream, particularly outside Wellington and a little bit of Christchurch with Telstra Clear's HFC network. Aucklanders like me can't get a meg. So to get capability of 50 and more is pretty powerful. We think social media will move to video, and there's the opportunity for new forms of social networking as family and friends move to better models of connectivity. So thanks for listening.